Welcome. In this video, we will discuss about the Poverty and Shared Prosperity report. So this particular report has been in news from last 1 or 2 days and it is released by World Bank. So let's move forward and see what kind of report it is and what are its key findings. So the first thing that we need to know is that it is a biennial report of World Bank. What does biennial means? That it comes every 2 years. So just remember, it is not an annual one, but it comes every 2 years. Hence, it's a biennial report of World Bank. What it provides, what is the major area or what is its exact objective? So it provides a global audience with the latest and most accurate estimates on trends in the global poverty and shared prosperity. So what it will provide, this report will try to collaborate the data at the global scale and will provide the latest trend in terms of global poverty as well as shared prosperity. So these are the main things which are part of this report. Now, like when we are at the topic of the reports released by World Bank, we should also know two other important reports which are released by World Bank, which is World Development Report. It is actually released by IBRD, which is a part of the World Bank group. So World Development Report as well as Global Economic Prospects. So these two reports are also published by World Bank. So just remember, World Development Report, Global Economic Prospects, as well as a report which we are discussing in the present video, which is your Global Poverty and Shared Prosperity. So just remember, UPSC at time has asked about who has published what kind of report or index. So such kind of like very factual information also you have to try to remember. So this is one thing. Now let's move forward and try to find out what are the major findings. So basically this particular report says what kind of problem the COVID-19 has caused. So it is saying that global extreme poverty is expected to rise for the first time in 20 years. So that is the huge impact of COVID-19 over the lives of people. So what happened in 20 years, this will be the first time when there will be global extreme poverty which is going to rise. So in like throughout the last 2 decades there are a lot of effort being made to reduce the poverty, but COVID-19 has kind of derailed the whole segment or whole process in which we were trying to bring people out of poverty. It will exacerbate the impact of conflict and climate change, which were already showing down poverty reduction. So basically, apart from the COVID-19, which happened in like this year, there were other two enemies of like what you can say the programs which were trying to elevate poverty. Those were the conflict, the area which are like war-ridden, like your Syria, Lebanon, Yemen, these areas, as well as the climate change. So there are many like the islands, these small islands which are majorly affected by the climate change. They are also some of the very poor nations. So climate change and conflicts were already reducing the efforts being put in terms of poverty elevation. But what happened, COVID-19 just kind of exaggerated the whole process. So now in 20 years, there going to be a rise in the global extreme poverty. This is what is the major finding of this report. Pandemic may push another 88 million to 150 million into extreme poverty. So just look at the huge number it is going to impact. 88 million to 150 million. Or people have to start living with less than $1.5 per day, which is like the minimum criteria according to World Bank, which you require to be above the poverty, resulting in the total of 150 million such individuals. So there is a like case of that extreme poverty could reach up to 115 million, and there is a case that people having earning less than $1.5 per day is going to be like 150 million. So this is basically from your UPSC point of view, you have to remember that COVID-19 has created many problems and it is going to cause a lot of ripple impact in terms of how the poverty reduction program was going on throughout the world. But also at the same time, remember, COVID-19 is not the only cause, and conflicts and climate change were already there, which were kind of derailing the whole process of poverty elevation. So these are the few things that you need to know. Now let's also try to discuss about how poverty is there in India. So poverty estimation in India is carried out by Niti Aayog task force through the calculation of poverty line based on the data captured by National Sample Survey Office under the Ministry of MOSPI. So now National Sample Survey Office plus Central Statistics Office has been combined to form National Statistics Office. So now NSSO and CSO work together under the National Statistics Office, and this particular organization is the one which kind of helped the Niti Aayog task force to come up with poverty estimation. Now poverty line estimation in India is based on consumption expenditure and not on income level. So basically, if you remember, the poverty line estimation which India still follow is Tendulkar Committee recommendation. Just remember. Tendulkar Committee recommendation is the one which India is still follow for poverty estimation. After Tendulkar, Rangarajan Committee was also formed, but its consideration has not been taken into fact right now. So right now also we follow the Tendulkar Committee recommendation, which recommended for consumption based expenditure and not at the income level. Now there is also another important index you have to think about. It's Global Multidimensional Poverty Index, in which India has lifted as many as 270 million people out of multidimensional poverty between 2005 to 2015. So basically in 10 years, India was able to bring out about half a million of 270 million people out of poverty. That has been highlighted by the Global Multidimensional Poverty Index. Now your homework is that figure out multidimensional poverty index, which organization releases it and how it is different from the other kind of poverty measurement that is there, and what kind of dimension it actually include in multidimensional poverty. You guys have to comment on the video. Also, another thing that we need to remember, the sustainable development goal which need to be achieved by 2030, it lays emphasis on zero poverty. So the goal number 1 itself, SDG, goal 1 itself is zero poverty. Goal 2 is no hunger. First itself is zero poverty. So you just can understand what kind of global effort is required. In fact, a lot of time it has been says that with all the advancement, with the technology and everything that we have today, we are at a place that nobody should die of hunger, and there should really effort should be paid to how to reduce poverty. Economic survey has recommended many things. Universal basic income is also one of the part of it, but you don't have to just go back. In 2017 they have talked about universal basic income. In fact, when the 2019 election was going on, Congress was talking about in its manifesto something similar to universal basic income. And in fact, the scheme of Kisan Samman, in which the income is provided to the farmers, it is also some kind of a plan which is like your universal basic income only. So that the idea and the concept is that some amount is credited directly to the beneficiary, and that should be able to take care of the basic necessity like your food, shelter and clothes, very basic necessity. And then they could work on and could focus on other aspects. So that is one of the things which the social scientists across the world push for when they talk about the universal basic income. So this is something that you need to know. Now I think you have understood this video. Remember who published this report. Remember that it is a biennial report. Try to recall the other reports which are also published by World Bank, and simple poverty measurements, how it is done in India. So I hope you have liked this video. If you have any doubt, feel free to drop a comment. Thank you.